All right, guys. I've had a couple of people ask me about this. I know I want to do this for some of my friends that haven't been able to play it and want to or don't know how to mod GTA. Um, Basically, what I'm going to do is kind of give you like a walkthrough of your basic LSPDFR install, what you need to download, what you need to, or where you need to put the folders, files, all that stuff. First of all, you're going to want to come to LSPDFR, or I'm sorry, LCPDFR.com, and then it'll give you the option. You choose LSPDFR. So you're going to click on downloads. Actually, it's already under downloads. So on here, it'll say LSPD first response. You're going to want to download now. So right now they're on version 0.3.1. Sometime this month, they're supposedly launching 0.4, which is supposed to do a ton of different things than what will even be here. So hopefully this month we'll see it. But what you're going to do is you're going to click download here. Yes, you agree. So you have the option of doing the manual install or the installer. I don't ever like doing the auto install, so I just do the manual install. It's going to ask you for a CAPTCHA. Half the time, the stupid CAPTCHA, regardless if you put it in right or not, it'll blow it out and it'll tell you that you did something wrong. So let that download. There's three main components that you're going to need. You're going to need LSPDFR, you're going to need Rage plugin hook, which if you go to their downloads, and then you can click on the newest version is always going to be at the top. Usually they'll tell you like this version's no longer available, which is really cool. So that way you don't accidentally download the wrong version. So if you click on the 0.64.1234.154.64 is the newest version. It'll even tell you because it was released December 12th of 2018. So get that downloaded. And then you're also going to need Script Hook V, but this is actually scripthookv.net. If I could type. So here's going to be from the actual developer, Alexander Blade. It should bring you to this. I'll put all the links of what we're using in the description. Just come through here, download this. Don't download the SDK because that's for developers. If you're making your own stuff, we're not obviously going to be doing that today. So then once you have those three downloaded, the one thing that I should reiterate, it needs to be on a clean copy of GTA 5. Whether you have to delete your old GTA 5 if you already previously modded, I mean, I guess you could use it on that, but it's just easier if you do it from clean. And what I suggest doing is having multiple copies. I have on different hard drives, I have clean copies, I have modded copies. I do play 5M, so I have one copy specifically dedicated so that way when I go on a 5M, I can do that. I have another copy that I can go and play GTA Online, not get banned, because you cannot play online with this copy. If you do, you're going to get banned. So I have it on a completely separate hard drive. This one hasn't been touched yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with LSPDFR. So you have all this stuff here. The only one you don't really need, some people may frown upon this because you should have licenses or whatever. I don't ever use them. You know, I don't resell, I don't do any of that stuff. I don't claim LSPDFR as my own, so just for simplicity's sake, I just get rid of the license folder. What we can do here, So all you're going to do is you're going to have your LSPDFR and your plugins folders, and then all this other stuff. So if you Control A, just drag it over and drop. It will replace a couple things. So yes, actually several things. Um, then you can do the Rage plugin hook. Again, it has a license and then has an SDK folder. That's again for developers. If you're not going to develop your own scripts or anything of the sort, you don't need to have it in. So drag this over and drop, replace those files. And then the last thing is script hook. Script hook has its own trainer, this native trainer. I don't personally like it. I believe you can change where it keybinds to. It's on the same keybind F4 as your console. I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the way that it's laid out, anything of the sort. So if you want to use it, you can leave it in. Otherwise, just take both of these files, or if you're using native trainer, you can take all three, drop it in. It's going to replace that dinput 8. Now, if you were to leave it alone as this, you technically could play LSPDFR. It'd be really boring. So there's a ton of things you can do over on LSPDFR. They have, if you go under the download section, they have what they consider the essential mods. So these are all things that you can add to the game, and it'll help with your realism, everything else. All of these I would suggest putting in. The only one I don't use is the uniform or emergency uniform pack. It's really cool. There's a menu that's set up to where you can use like your MP peds like you do in 5M or like you do on GTA Online. I make my own peds, so I don't really care for using like an MP ped, but like I do use ELS on my cars, the cop holster, the spotlight. Um, so I'll download a couple of these just to kind of show you guys how to go about doing it. Um, so like we'll download ELS. The one thing that you're gonna get really like annoyed with, and if you don't already have one, I would suggest making an account with lspdfr.com, because every time you go to download a file, if you are not logged in, it'll ask you to keep putting in that captcha. And if you're downloading one or two mods, that's fine. But eventually, you're going to get really frustrated and pissed off and not want to do it. So, this is LSPDFR Plus. It adds more stuff. You can go through and read like what it adds. Um, it basically helps you move along with LSPDFR, helps you with traffic stops, it helps you with pursuits. This one adds a court system, and it's made by a guy who goes by the name of Elbow1125. He basically, in my opinion, has changed the way LSPDFR works. As you can see, like he has made some of the best mods, the essential mods that you need. Um, in order to make it to where the game is really fun, semi-realistic, and just basically he did everything for this community, and didn't get paid for it, didn't do anything of the sort. He just did it because he liked the game and wanted to see it go further. I know he has retired from making scripts, which really sucks. He said he has his own personal reasons, which I totally get. He has a family, everything else. That's awesome. But it just sucks for the community that we no longer have the ability to have him make cool shit for us. However, all his stuff is open sourced now, so that way people can go on and further develop. Um, they don't have it in the essential pack, and I really wish they would, because this mod that he came out with is unbelievably life saving. So you can go through and search it, or you can search through him. You click on his name, you click on the downloads, the files. Downloading this will absolutely change your freaking life when it comes to modding this game. So if you go onto this modding DLC pack 5, it essentially what it does is if anyone's ever modded GTA 5, they'll know that certain files have to be dropped into certain folders, whether it be a different patch or any of this other stuff, and it's a pain in the fucking ass. They really make it hard. They don't make it easy. Um, he came out with this, and I'll install it and show you guys how it actually works, and it changes how you go about doing things. It just makes shit 10 times easier. Um, if you're gonna download ELS, I suggest it because there's the most cars available to you. So we'll go through and I'll download one car. Um, I'll install it. I'll search through ELS compatible under police. I'll only do a single car. I'm not going to download a whole pack because they take forever. So we'll download this unmarked SRT Challenger. Shouldn't take a few seconds to download it. All right. So now what we'll do is go to my downloads. So what I did was here's the Challenger that I just downloaded. That is an ELS car. So we'll download ELS, or I'm sorry, not download, unzip ELS. Here's the modding DLC pack 5. I did traffic policer. I thought I did one more. LSPDFR plus. All right, so we'll quickly go through and I'll show you how easy it is to actually install all this shit. So we'll start with ELS. Throw it over here. All these files are going to have your user guide, default controls. It'll have a ton of stuff that you need as far as helping you along the way. So if you click on installation, it literally will walk you through what file you should be into. So if you're using Steam, depending on what hard drive you put your account on or your game on, like for me, I literally just dropped it on my E drive. So all I have to do is just click there and it's just right there. So you have an INI folder, which is a config folder, an ASI folder, a DLL, and then your ELS folder. So you're going to basically take all 4 of these and you're just going to drag it and drop it over into your GTA 5 root folder. You're not going to go inside of anything else. You're going to be in the main GTA 5 folder. So ELS is done. The modding pack is a little bit different because you're going to need a tool called OpenIV. So for traffic policer, same thing. He's got his documentation, his change log, everything else, but it says go to GTA 5, and then immediately it's got an LSPDFR folder, which there's already one there. It has a plugins folder, which there's already one there. It has this elbow 1125 common.common.dll, and it has a Rage Native UI. So for these two things, you have to be really careful because your Rage Native and your elbow, different things that you download will have these files. You always have to use the most up-to-date one. As far as I remember, I can actually look at the one that I use. For elbows, his most common up-to-date is 11/24 of 2018, and for the Rage Native UI, it is 2/18 of 2018. So make sure that you are using those. Traffic Policer will will use the new, because it's been recently updated, it will use the most updated one. So when we go to add that, because right now we don't even have a Rage Native UI in here. The reason why you have to be careful with these is if you're using an out of date uh, either Rage Native UI or Elbow, certain things for the Elbow one, certain things won't load. If you have an out of date Rage Native, it'll crash your game. Like instantly, it'll crash your game. You won't even be able to load in. So then we'll go over to Traffic Policer. Oh, it doesn't have the newest one. I'll just copy it over and yeah, so it's got the 1231, but it still has this 1124 of 2018. One of his files has it, and I don't remember which one. Um, yeah, both of them. All right, I don't remember. All right. So then, like I said, with the modding pack, you're gonna need OpenIV. So if you go back to your web browser and you just type in Google OpenIV or Open5, you'll be able to download version 3.1 right from here. So I already have it. So I'll open it up. And it's going to ask you, what version. Obviously, you're going to go on Windows. When you first start it, you're going to have to validate what directory it goes into. So you'll have to choose whatever your hard drive is and then go through and tell it which folder so that way it reads it. So what's going to do is it's going to pop up that everything that you see in that main folder plus other things that aren't normally visible, only with this tool will it be visible. So like you can see where it has all the updates. It's got a bunch of other stuff. So with Elbow's modding deal, it has a file called the .oiv or .openiv. What you're going to do when you first start this, you're going to hit Tools. You're going to go to ASI Manager. You're going to click on ASI Loader and you're going to install it. Then you're going to click on OpenIV.asi and you're going to install it again. It's going to ask you, do you want to be able to basically override and drop files in things that it doesn't belong. So like you don't ever want anything outside of this mods folder. It's going to automatically make that mods folder for you. So this has like all the different things that I'm going, that I have as far as in my game. So all the different cars that I have, map mods, things that are added on. I've got like JDM rims, all that shit, because I also have stuff modded for single player. So what you're gonna do once you go through and do the ASI install, you're gonna find wherever you put this. Usually you should do it on your desktop. So you're gonna go to Modding DLC Pack 5 1.2. You're gonna click on the OIV. You're gonna hit Open, and it's gonna ask you to install it to the mods folder. You're gonna hit Yes. Once it's done, it's gonna ask you to run the game. Don't run the game because you need to be able to run it through Rage plugin. So you just close it and it'll drop out and it'll come back to this window. The one thing you're always going to want to make sure you have that I completely forgot, make sure you're in edit mode, because if you do anything to these files, it won't let you do it. So like this should be able to be editable. Actually, these should be. So like, actually, I'm in edit mode. So there's no replace here. If I turn on edit mode, it's not, of course it's not doing what I want it to do. There it goes. So I could actually replace whatever this wall texture is with whatever I want. Obviously, we're not going to mess with that. I was just showing it for reference. So what we're going to do is once you get his OIV opened, it's going to be under Update, X64, DLC packs, and the only thing you're going to see here is modding. So this is how you're going to add your cars, you're going to add your peds, everything else. So you're going to click on DLC RPF and you're going to get to this point. Common is where all of your data basically is going to be held. So for your cars, you have car variations, handling. In here is going to be your vehicle metas. So like, you know, I have Police 6, which doesn't exist in the game. That's going to be for um, add-on cars, stuff like that. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on X64, levels, GTA 5, vehicles, vehicle RPF. So these are all the replacement cars or necessarily add-on cars that I've installed. So what you would do then is you would take this unmarked SRT8 Charger. Technically, I think it's a Hellcat. It's going to be under model, and you can have it with or without side runners. And for those who don't know, side runners are lights that run along the rocker panels of the car. Some cars look cool with them, some cars they look horrible with them. So you're going to have these three files. You're going to have an YFT, YTD, and a high YFT. So the YFT files are actually the model of the car. The YTD is going to be the texture of the car. So if you click on a, a YTD or a YFT, you'll actually be able to view what the car looks like, to where if you want to make a custom skin or something like that, this is how you would view it. For the YTDs, this is where all your textures of the car is going to be. So it's going to have your interior, your lights, your center caps on your wheels, the tire tread pattern. You know, like this vehicle has shotgun sitting on the, you know, behind the driver, stuff like that. So it's got all different stuff that you don't need to necessarily mess with. Um, Especially if you don't know how or don't want to. You know, this is the Dodge dashboard. So it's got like the tail lights, all that other good crap. So what you would do is you would take that car and you would just drop it right in here. All three of those files, you would drop it right in here. From there, it has a fourth file in a sense. You would want to click on your extras. This one's labeled kind of weird. It's kind of dumb how they did it because people are going to look at it and go, "Oh, it's an extra. I don't need it." In reality, yeah, you do, because this is actually how the vehicle's lights work with ELS. So this XML file is basically telling the game where the lights are located, what colors they're supposed to be, what colors are they supposed to emit, you know, how fast are they moving, all that other stuff. So this is actually should be renamed needed file, not extra file. So what you would do is you would go over to your ELS folder, click on it, click on default pack, and you're going to literally drop the XML file right in the body of here. So these are all the different files that I have for all the different police cars that I use. So from there, you know, my suggestion is get a couple of things in and then test it. Because if you get too far and you're 2 hours into modding, and all of a sudden, the third mod that you made or that you installed broke your game and you didn't know about it, you just wasted 2 hours of your time. What you do in reality is I would go back to your root folder, make a copy of this, no, I'm sorry, make a shortcut of it, drag the shortcut into your desktop. All right, from there, you're going to double click the Rage plugin hook. And for me, obviously, starting up multiple times, it isn't going to run you through, but it's going to run you through a series of um, like systems checks, stuff like that. And if you have a third-party antivirus, there is a chance that it's going to not allow it to happen. So it's best to just either disable it, get rid of it, whatever. So once you get through it, it's going to give you this option here. So obviously on your general, it's going to give you your console key. I've never actually been able to get it to switch off of F4. I don't know why. I just have always left it after I tried a long time ago. You don't really have to do anything with this. For the plugins, this is where everything that you dropped in your LSPDFR, so like I have Clear the Way, Cop Holster, the Entity Persistence, um, obviously LSPDFR itself, Open My Trunk, and Spotlight. So all this stuff is going to be in here. Now you have way more plugins, but it's all linked to LSPDFR, so it's not going to actually be in the main plugins folder. It's going to be in an LSPDFR folder. So you're going to want to load all of these plugins. I chose to load them individually because at one point I was trying to test stuff. So check them all. You don't have to, like, if you want to just try it, just have LSPDFR, but otherwise you have to go through the console, reload all the plugins, everything else. It's better to have them all load at once. The advanced settings, you don't have to do anything with this. Under the game settings, what I do recommend doing is going to the command line switches. You can make it to where it's only going to load DirectX 11. I don't necessarily have to do it. I've never had an issue. The one thing you do have to do, you cannot have it on full screen. Unless someone figured out a workaround, I have not figured it out. It will crash your game immediately. It'll tell you that you have insufficient permissions from your antivirus, regardless if you have one on or not. If you want it forced windowed mode, you can. I always click borderless window. It is a full screen. You don't have to deal with it. But for whatever reason, full screen mode, not only does it kill your FPS, but it also crashes the game. So you're going to click save and launch. All right, so it's loading in game. When it's completed, you'll see it where it says hooking instance, and then it'll say enjoy, and this whole logo will drop to the bottom left over here, and the screen will go black, and it'll start loading like normal GTA 5. So it's going through all of its normal nonsense that it always does. Sometimes it can be touchy too, to where you'll try and do it 2 times, and for whatever reason it just doesn't take. Don't get discouraged. Don't turn around and start ripping your game folder apart. Don't delete the game folder. Try it a few times, figure out what happened. Sometimes it's just a glitch, and on the second or the third time, it loads, and it loads perfectly fine. Everything else is good. If it's a consistent thing, then you have to look at what did you mod, what did you add, what did you do to cause that. A lot of the times it is a user error thing, to where they've tested this stuff so many times that they know it works, but once it gets in the hands of the normal people and they start throwing in a bunch of mods, some of them conflict with each other, some of them duplicate each other, and it doesn't want to load. So it's going through and it's loading the plugins, and it's telling you at the bottom right that it's loading story mode with Rage plugin hook, all that other stuff. So when you get to this point, obviously we loaded in game. It's going to tell you that there's new console commands, all that other stuff. It'll tell you that LSPDFR loaded successfully. I'll turn it to day, just so that way it's a little bit easier to see. So I use, like I said earlier, that native trainer that's on F4. I don't care for that trainer at all. Personally, I like the menu trainer better. To me, it's more appealing. It looks nicer. It's a little bit easier to use, and it's more in depth. There's a lot more things that you can do with it. So what you're going to do once you're first loaded into game after you installed everything, you're going to notice on your map that there is a bunch of these black shields with stars around it. Well, it's telling you where the police stations are. What that is actually where you can clock in and go on duty. So in not Los Santos, sorry, Sandy Shores, the police station, the on duty is at this back door here. So you just click E, and it'll bring you into your player select menu. Now I have not add-on, but I have different peds than what the vanilla LSPDFR uses. So my guys are going to look a lot different. You go through and you can choose all your different departments. Highway patrol, park ranger, sheriff, Los Santos police. This is vanilla, this is vanilla. I didn't change any of these guys. But you can go through and customize your character depending on which peds you're using. Some of them have different accessories, some of them have different gear. Like this one has a leg holster, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense for a sheriff to use, but you can get them with hats, all that good stuff. Once you choose your character, it's going to bring you to the vehicle select menu. I use a handful of different vehicles that are in different spots. Again, it was where I showed you guys where to drop that one. That was FBI. So what that one would actually replace is this one, where um, it's a Buffalo, a Charger, anyways, but it's a Bravado Buffalo. So this is where your FBI 2 would be. So you can select it, and your game's gonna act like it wants to freeze. It's not going to freeze. What it's doing is it's thinking and it's starting to load up all your stuff. If you start seeing everything in the left-hand corner like what I'm seeing, this is obviously after you have several mods, then everything's loaded correctly. So it's going to go through, and on the first one, it's going to ask you to configure your buttons as far as you have a police radio. So like it'll ask you what buttons should be where, everything else. So if you go through and um, if you're on foot, you'll see certain things. If you're in a car, you'll see certain things. So like in a car, I don't see a whole hell of a lot. But if I get out of the car, um, if I hit C again, now I have plate check, tow service, um, panic button, insurance, all this stuff. So like I can request a female on scene, fire truck. I can walk up to this car and get his plate number. So it's 00QTQ 418, which this motherfucker, his license is suspended, so he took off. We can actually go get him. I don't know where he went. He turned down here. He might actually be behind us in that white blip. So like I just got a call out. You know, it's a pursuit in progress. So we'll actually join the pursuit. We'll try and cut them off because they're literally a street over from us parallel. So we'll actually catch them here, or we should be able to. So we'll turn down here. Looks like they haven't stopped. Nope, he's still running. So now we're taking primary. And because he's a fucking jagoff, just slam into him. Oh, he takes off. That's what the ram bar's for. So we can box him in and he's taking off running. Pull out your gun. I'll shut off my phasers because it's freaking ridiculous. So they were technically the primary on that whole deal, and they chose to leave me here to deal with this guy. He came from the hospital. Well, you're going the wrong way. See if he has anything illegal on him. I don't have the right to touch him. Valid. I do have a right to search him because he ran, though. So he had a butterfly knife, a taser, a suicide note, and a passport. All right. So what we can actually do is I'll call in for a transport so I don't have to transport his ass. Jesus, why are you running with your phasers on? So she'll come over here and take his ass. And then we can actually tow the vehicle. Yeah, this guy's going to give no fucks and just drive. There he goes. He picked it up. So yeah, that was quick and interesting to get that kind of a call out that fast. But yeah, I mean, there's endless amounts of things you can do. Um, you know, pretty much if you can think it, there's probably a mod for it. You can use stuff off of GTA5mods.com. Obviously, you can use stuff off of LSPDFR.com. What I do suggest doing is making sure that you're checking the version on it. You can actually filter by version 0.3, and that's going to be a lot of the stuff that's up to date, you know, able to use on this version now. You know, when 0.4 comes out, you'll have stuff that's optimized for that. But, you know, try and be careful of what you do. A lot of these guys will actually, they'll, you know, more than likely they will um, come out with stuff fairly quickly once point 4, if they haven't already been, testing them to where stuff should roll out fairly quick. Um, and make sure that you are putting in the mods in the right places, everything else. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. I'll answer them as best as possible. We can, if you're really having a lot of trouble, I can always talk with you on Discord or something of the sort, try and help you as best as I can. I've been modding GTA for a while. Obviously, I developed my own server for 5M, all that stuff. So I have a fairly good understanding of how this shit is supposed to work, what you're supposed to do. Um, you know, but again, don't hesitate. There's no stupid question until you break your game and then you're pissed off because you have to re-download it from Steam and it takes fucking 2 hours. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. Comment, like, and subscribe. The whole deal. I'll talk to you guys later.